Welcome back to another exciting episode of One Horrible Weekend. I'm Casey, and this, depending on where it pops up on the screen, is Eric. How you doing?
I'm all right. Your first arrow actually pointed to me on my screen too, so maybe you're right. Maybe
I
you're right.
know, but I feel like sometimes when I
It's gonna
do that,
change,
it
yeah.
changes, and I'm like, I don't know anymore. I have no idea. So, this is our top 10 horror houses at Halloween Horror Nights 2025 in Orlando, Florida.
Whoop, whoop.
We did 2 days there. It was a blast. Eric,
We
I
went, we
assume you had
came, we
fun?
saw. I did. I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. The whole weekend was. I think we've talked a little bit about it, but on the regular pod. But we did the wrestling Friday night, and that was awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was a
Yep.
great trip.
And if you want to know more about our trip in general, there'll be another video popping up around the same time as this one that will talk very
Ah,
specifically about that. But right now, we're just going to do our top tens. So we already did a top 10 anticipation level. And so as we go through what our actual top 10 are, I will tell you where we ranked it in our anticipation. So without further ado, Eric, can you tell us what was your number 10, your least favorite? You hated this house at Horror Nights.
now that we've done it,
Now that we've done it. Now that we've done
post
it.
one. My least favorite that we did was we did them all, by the way.
We did do them.
I don't know why I keep saying that we did. For my least favorite was Grave of Flesh.
All right.
To me, that one was fine. It was a standard haunted house, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It had a hard theming to it. It didn't really ever make sense. It just felt like walking around different elements of a crypt, not even a graveyard at time. Like it just kind of felt sloppy by comparison. It wasn't the first one we did. I don't know if maybe that would have changed. Like if you went to that one first, you might like it more, in my opinion. But because we didn't, it wasn't.
Yeah.
There were a lot better themes. There were a lot better scares. There were a lot better costumes. This one just was this one was generic,
All right.
for lack of better terms.
All right. Your number 10 on the anticipation
Hmm.
was Hatchet and Chains. That's
Yeah.
what you thought was going to be your least favorite.
Well, Grave of Flesh fell right from
Yeah, it
seven.
was original seven. So, all right. Well, I'm curious to see where Hatchet and Chains is going to end up popping up on your list.
You kind of know. You can see.
I don't know what you're talking about. For me, my number 10, I actually agree with you, Grave of Flesh.
There you go.
And it is a lot of the same things, except for I told you and Ron this while we were there, because you guys, particularly Ron, would go on about like, oh, the story, the story, the story. I'm like, I never get the story in these houses. I'm here
No.
for the scares and stuff. There's no clear story. It's not like I got a book that you could follow along or they're telling me it's all visuals for the most part. So I didn't get the story. I just knew the basic concept. You're going into your own grave.
Hmm.
And so I thought it looked
Mm.
cool. It was messy. The scares weren't great. I'm not saying this is a bad house. Like all of these are great houses. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
all these houses beat your mom and pop, circus fun house thing that you're going to see in most places. So
Beat
they're all good.
99% for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is when we're ranking them, this is just the one that's going to be at the bottom and it just overall wasn't one that I was like, I want to do it again. So,
And it usually was pretty easy in terms of lines to get onto,
yeah.
even when Saturday was pretty crowded. Sunday less so, that we were there, but it was still, I think, usually in the 30 to 40 range
Oh yeah, we
time
probably
lane.
could have done this again if we wanted
Yeah.
to. My number 10 anticipation was Dolls Let's Play Dead was
Mm.
originally mine. All right, Eric, what is your number 9?
Number 9 for me is Dolls Let's Play Dead.
Oh,
That was where that one ultimately ended up for me. I think that stayed the same, surprisingly.
it
Um, I'm realizing some of these actually stayed the same more than I thought. I thought I only had one, but Dolls Let's Play Dead. I did not expect to like it. I don't love the whole doll theme. It felt silly and I don't want to say cliche, but like just forced in a way, or just I don't know. I guess cliche, maybe a
mm,
little bit in terms of like the silliness of it. It did feel like walking through Sid's sisters
did.
from Toy Story. I thought that there were some really cool ideas behind it, and it had a lot more potential than it actually executed on. But I liked the idea of the theme that you were essentially a toy and
Mm.
you were now part of this haunted or this horrible kids, room. But like I was a little sad that there wasn't more of a reason for me to run away. right, from things. That it was
Yeah.
more people jumping out at me still. Whereas like it really could have taken off if I was afraid of like a giant girl essentially trying
Right.
to come and play with me or something like that.
Right.
And so there wasn't really any of that. It just fell flat. It was boring by comparison. There really wasn't a storyline beyond you're a small toy now yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and even some of the designs were cliche. Some of the costumes weren't very good. Like I don't mean the designs were cliche, but they were just boring by
Yeah.
comparison to some of the other stuff. Again, this was not the first house we did.
Hmm.
Had it been, it might have been better, but I'm glad it wasn't because it was. I think maybe well, that and El Artista I think was the same, but like the only lines to not have cover.
Yeah.
Right. So had we gone like at the
Oh
6
no.
p.m. or 5 p.m. sort of idea,
What was Terrifier also didn't?
Terrifier had cover.
No, Terrifier was the one that was in the
You're
back.
right. You're
Remember?
right.
Because it
Terrifier didn't
rained.
have cover.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. So this one didn't have cover. Terrifier, obviously, because it was so popular, we still sat out in the sun.
Yeah.
But this one would have sucked to have been in the line and then go through that house and got what we got.
Yeah.
To have gotten like a sunburn for like an hour trying to wait for it type thing would have been horrible.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, yes, your number nine anticipation was Dolls Let's Play Dead.
Solid.
My number nine, and I know I'm gonna get some hate for this, was Fallout. I wanted to like Fallout a lot. I really did. I had mentioned previously, I was very afraid that I didn't see how this was gonna work. It looked cool, don't get me wrong. It looked like the TV show, and I appreciated that.
Hmm.
Fallout's not a horror game. And if I'm looking at this from a haunted house, a horror house type thing, this wasn't there. There was barely anything that even remotely was scary. The jumps weren't that great to me. Again, visually looked cool, but I need more than visually looked cool. Now, I did love hearing Lucy pop up constantly being like, okie dokie, okie dokie.
Yeah, there was a lot of okie
Uh,
dokies,
Eventually, I
a
just
lot of her
started
lines.
saying artichoke every time she would say okie dokie. So it fell flat for me. And I wanted to like it more. It was one of those like, oh, it's gonna be interesting and yeah. So my number nine anticipation was Grave of Flesh. So I was already pretty
Very
low
good.
on that one to begin with.
Very
Eric,
good.
what is your number eight?
My number eight is Fallout. It's funny.
Oh,
I'm trailing just behind you a little bit. It feels like. Number eight was Fallout for me. A lot of the same comments I would say fall for me as well. It falls flat as a horror idea. I think part of the problem with some of these houses and the fact that they fall flat in the ways that they do is because of the structure of the house. And I don't mean like literally the structure,
right.
but because you're in a kind of constant Congo line in order to move the people through. I get
Yeah.
it. But because you're in this Congo line, you're always kind of just walking, right? And there's no way to stop or enjoy a moment. There's no way to build a moment and things like that. Be
Right.
these because you're just and so sometimes you miss a scare that someone behind you or in front of you gets because they're resetting for the next jump.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that that was disappointing. I think that probably hurt Fallout the most because I think Fallout could have really stood from a bit more of a narrative vibe. And honestly, I thought that was going to be somewhat of what we got, which was this kind of stop, go,
Yeah.
sort of vibe of like, I don't know, water slide, basically, of haunted houses, where, you get just enough time for you to go through and have your own experience
Yeah.
versus kind of seeing what they got or they got. And so the whole vibe of all of these houses at a certain point just becomes, I got to get to the next room. I got to get to the next room,
Yeah.
right? And you're just kind of shuffling along, and you don't move that fast. So like, there's sometimes you get stuck in front of the same window that they're going to pop out, and I think Fallout really suffers from this because
Yeah.
of how much of it is pre-recorded lines.
Yeah.
You know, forming where the jump happens versus like so they would you could clearly see they would have to essentially reset and jump back out when the line
Yeah.
would come out again. And because of that, I think Fallout just fell flat. I actually really liked the idea of it being a raid, but because the idea of it was, you're trying to survive this sort of Fallout raid, that's when I think that they needed the stop
Yeah.
go aspect of it, so that you felt like you had to survive versus you were just congoing through, right?
Yeah.
With other survive, like yeah, I don't know, like it needed to be more of a ride and less of a house almost.
Fair. Fair. Your number eight anticipation was Terrifier.
I
By the
know.
way. Anyway. All right, my number eight is again, I'm gonna get a lot of heat. I know it. Five Nights at Freddy's. This
Mm,
was the first one we did, and I thought it could be kind of cool. I thought it was going to be great, and I had some anticipation because of the Jim Henson puppetry that they were going to do for it, which looked cool. Don't get me
It
wrong,
was very good.
that looked amazing. In the day, it was not a scary house for me. I don't think there was a single jump scare that actually got me. Now, Eric can attest, I screamed a lot in there to try to just like, make the actors feel like, oh, they got someone. Oh, look at that. And I'm really good at doing the scream song, but it wasn't anything that like got my heart. Like there were a couple good ones. Don't get me wrong. Not
Yeah,
this
yeah,
house. Not in
yeah.
the
Oh
later
yeah.
houses. There were some couple of good, really good scares, but this one, nothing got my heart going. Nothing like it was just oh cool. Oh, they did the song. Yay.
Hmm.
Oh, there's the cupcake. Like it was just that. Or I remember one moment
Yeah, it was like
that
Easter egg.
really,
This was the
yeah.
biggest, well, not the biggest Easter egg house, but yeah.
Yeah, and I got very excited when I was like, "Oh, there's the mask from the movie, Eric. There's the mask from the movie." And then a poor jump actor tried to come up behind me and scare me. And I'm like, "Oh, hey." So
Well, that's
yeah,
part of the problem too with the Congo line is sometimes when they try to get at you, you're
yeah,
like, is this just the person behind me?
yeah. And so it becomes a thing. So I really wanted to like this. I really, really did,
It
and it
was still
just
the
fell.
most popular pretty much at any point in
And
the night.
I think it was. I think they did this and Fallout because it was going to be popular with kids, and they could do it with younger crowds because there were a lot of young kids there. I
It
think
was
this was a
super high
way
school,
to get younger people
college.
in, which was smart on them. Totally agree
Sure.
that they should do it. And it brings in some less intense scares so that you can have other people doing it. And then if you want to do the more intense ones, you can do those as well. But it was a very crowded night.
Yeah.
My number eight was Hatchet and Chains, or as we mistype, Hacker and Chains.
Which would have
Uh,
been a completely different house.
Different show. That was my number eight originally. All right, Eric, your number seven.
Number seven for me was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Stop
Same as you.
following me.
You know what? I'm a little bit ahead of you technically. Yeah. So same stuff as you. It fell flat in a lot of ways for me.
Mm,
It just didn't hit. It didn't work. Um, it it just wasn't scary enough. And
yeah,
honestly, it's kind of like the movie in that way. The movie
yeah,
never really takes off to a place of terrifying because you start learning the other backstory. So this one
right.
kind of suffered that where if you're familiar with the movie, I wonder honestly if it would be more scary if I didn't know the movie, right? If I had a
Maybe.
little less anything going into it. But it was definitely the house that and maybe it was because I was first, I was excited about it. I was glad to be doing it,
Yeah,
but I was more fascinated by the Easter eggs of it than I was scared of anything.
yeah,
It was just kind of a tense house. And so yeah, just could have been better, but definitely great puppetry,
yeah. Amazing puppetry. That's definitely the
no
best
doubt.
part of this one.
Yeah.
All right. That was your number seven. My number seven was Gulkin. Gulkin Monsters of the North. And oh, I didn't say what your
My number
sorry.
seven originally would have been
Your
Grave of
was
Flesh.
Grave of Flesh originally. Yes, sorry. So my number seven is Gulkin, Monsters of the North. It was cool. I wish the room had been colder. I feel like
Yeah, I do wish
we had
colder.
did this kind of near the
I
end of
wanted
the
snow.
first day. I feel like it was the end of the first day, and we were already starting to get kind of
And no, it was
was
towards
it
the end, but
was
we
toward the
still
end?
had a couple hours left. We did a few houses after this that I
Yeah,
remember. But yeah, this was by no means our first. I think this ended up being like our fourth house
if
of the
yeah.
night.
And it was the one of the furthest treks to get out to. It was really hard to get out there. And
Yeah.
this was our second time out there because I think we had done
And
Fallout
it
and then
shared a
we
line with
left.
Fallout. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think we did Fallout first and we came back to Gulkin.
then we left because the lines got big and then we came back. There was some cool puppetry in there for sure. The giant puppetry was really
Yeah, that
cool
was
and
really
I
good.
liked. And I thought they had some cool costumes. There were a couple of decent little scares in here. But, something's got to be in the middle. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it.
So that's number seven for you? Is that
That's
what you're
number
saying?
seven. My original number seven was Fallout,
Mm.
my anticipation one, because I was, again, just concerned that it was going to fall flat. Eric, what is your number six?
My number six is Hacker and Chains.
Oh, interesting.
The Hatchet and Chains, Hacker and Chains, whatever we want to call it.
Yep.
That one actually, I really liked it. Just has to fall below some of the other ones, and I'll get to obviously
Yeah.
why. But like, I really thought it was great. It was the only house that had a bad smell that was disgusting and wanting to move on from. Which I didn't hate the fact that it did that to me, but I was also surprised that I didn't catch that elsewhere.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially since they had talked about that in other houses and we didn't
yeah,
catch it in
we
those. We
didn't.
only caught it in this one.
But this one, I thought like Hacker and Chains or Hatchet and Chains was really I thought really well themed. I thought it was one of the best exteriors of any house to
Hmm.
walk up to. Um, I thought they I thought it was just a lot of fun. It felt like an old saloon gone wrong at times and things like that. It just was. I thought they did a really good job for something that could have been so much more generic, which I expected to be
Yeah.
so much more generic. I think I called this at number 10, right in the first case.
Yeah,
So
you
this
did.
one was very, this one definitely surprised me of how much better it was. And I probably honestly, if I wanted to do things twice, which I ended up not, I would have done this one a second time. Though probably not compared to others. You really do have to manage your time there. That's
Yeah.
something I definitely learned.
Yeah.
And it just would be hard to choose a couple. And obviously, this falls at number 6 for me. So there's probably 5 other houses I'd be willing to do
Yeah.
ahead of this. But no, I was good. I definitely think it should be on people's list if you're still planning to go.
Yeah. Your number six originally was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Hmm.
My number six, surprise, surprise, is Hatchet and Chains, Demon Bounty Hunters.
Hey, tied up.
Same things as you. The exterior was great. The smell was awful. I was expecting to see Hatchet and Chains more in the actual house, and I think I only saw one of them. I don't know which one's which. I think I only saw one of them once on a horse. I think there was a spot where I like looked up, and above us was like this guy on a horse.
Maybe.
And I think it was the
Yeah,
only time.
but so the thing that stood out from this was less about the hatch and chains, more
The fire
the
demons.
the fire demons. Yeah,
Yeah.
the demons that they were hunting, I guess, arguably,
Yeah.
because that was really well done to me. A lot of the makeup for that, a lot of the some people even had masks that were glowing as if
Yeah.
they were made of, golem or sort of monsters.
Yeah.
Um, and even the smell was just the smell of like burning, but also really bad burn. Like it was like maybe
Yeah.
flesh burning, I guess would be the I've never smelled that, so I don't know. But like yeah. What's funny is there were other people as we walked out were like, "What the fuck was
Yeah.
that?" So,
Yeah. It was
yeah,
very intense.
yeah.
So yeah, we're tied up at number six. Will we type more? Who knows?
Mm,
My number six anticipation was Jason Universe originally.
interesting.
All right, Eric, what is your number five? We're in the top
My
five.
my number 5. We are in top 5 now. Is Gulkin. I
Stop
like this one
following
a
me.
little bit more than you. No, you were 2 away, so I'm fine here. Gulkin. I thought it was really good. I thought the construction of the house, the build, the look of the house was awesome.
Mhm.
To me, this was one of the best themes in that way, that it did a really good job of knowing the assignment in terms of what to make the house look like. It felt like you were walking through old Norse, sort of Viking villages and stuff like that, that I
Mhm.
thought did a really good job. It had runes, it had all that stuff on the walls. Um, the scares of it weren't awesome at all times. And there was definitely a missed opportunity with snow, right?
Yeah.
None of this felt northern.
Yeah.
It felt like you were inside of like an Epcot, building, and everything was themed Viking, but
Yeah.
going wrong. And that's fine, right? But like, monsters of the north, and especially the image that they were using to highlight it was like the forest, and so I
Mhm.
really expected more of that. But I also think that the theming of this with the woman, I think, is what we found out, like the
Yeah.
witch woman coming in and exacting her revenge. I thought that worked out really well, because I think that like that's where a lot of the scare factors and artistry came through, of seeing them taking over kind of this Viking town of sorts, or
Yeah.
Viking huts and stuff. I don't know how to put it, but like I said, you never stepped in the snow. You never felt freezingly cold.
Yeah, they should
A
have
lot of
had
missed
the AC
opportunities.
cranked up.
It was also a very I was very surprised that it was like 90 something degrees and like 100% humidity that weekend. So
Yeah.
that fucking sucked.
Yeah, that did suck.
Pardon my
Maybe that's
French.
why they didn't have the AC cranked up,
Maybe,
because they
yeah.
were like, that will cost us X amount of money
We will we will
per
break
hour.
we will break our AC. It was also
Yeah.
one of the tent ones, or so to speak,
Yeah.
the
The
temporary
man-made
builds. Yeah,
buildings. Yeah.
so maybe that contributed too.
Yeah. All right. So that's your number five. Your anticipation number five was El Artista, a Spanish haunting.
Ooh,
We haven't seen that yet. I
we
wonder where
have
that's
a
at.
crazy.
My number five is Dolls Let's Play Dead. That is my number five. And yes, again, that was originally my least anticipated one. What got me with this one was the colors. I thought the colors were good. I
Definitely the most vibrant the
I
houses.
appreciated that it wasn't little dolls. The way it worked out because I'm terrified of dolls, which is one of the reasons why they were so low originally. But because of the way they did the costumes and things, there wasn't anything that was like, oh, this is just a porcelain doll. Like it
Hmm.
was a lot easier to tell the difference too. I thought they got really creative with some of the melding of things the way they did. There's like the weird spider thing in there.
Yeah.
Again, it's Toy Story Sid's sister. It clearly is. I like the one thing you didn't mention. There was projections in there, so every now and then you would see the giant girl's head like come by the projection and like look in
Oh,
and
I'd
see
missed
what
that, I
was
guess.
going
Yeah,
on.
I guess I didn't even notice that.
And so I thought that was really cool the way they did it. The use of the projections. You could hear her voice every now and then. Now, unfortunately, we didn't see her. She was at the park. If you stay in the club, every now and then they would have her go to the club and stand out there and like taunt people. And we
Oh,
didn't get
okay.
to see it, but I've seen videos of her out there. So for
She
that,
was in the projection of the window. She was one of the few external designs. You know, you had the window where she was
yeah,
hacking away at her dolls at certain points.
yeah. So it was really cool. Better than I was expecting. I honestly wasn't expecting this one to be good, and I just like again the colors were great. The lines sucked, but the colors were great inside. It was very vibrant. It
Hmm.
was a tonally different house than practically everything else there.
Yes.
And I think that's what helps it for me. My original number five was Gulkin Monsters of the North. So that one was originally um, in the middle for me, and it's, for the most part, kind of stayed there. All right, Eric, what is your number four?
Jason Universe was number four for
Ooh.
me, which I think I carried over. I was dead on with that one, but that one actually was one of the best houses in my opinion in terms of scare factor,
Mhm.
and really did a good job of amping it as you went through. That was one of
Yeah,
the best ones in terms of like feeling more and more and more,
yeah,
as you went on. Whereas the other ones were just kind of the jumps you got at the beginning could have been the same jumps you got at the end.
right.
With Jason, what was really neat about that, and what I think solidified it as one of the better ones for sure, was the fact that there's two parts, right? You kind of go out and then back into another house. It almost, I think, even like daylight, might have been in there. Um, and as you're doing that, that second house especially, the walls start slowly getting closer. That just did a very good job of just angling them enough so that by the time you got to the end of the house, you were really kind of feeling very claustrophobic and trying to
Yeah,
get out. And Jasons were just popping out left and right. Like it would start slow, and then by the time you got to the end, you could not take steps without seeing another Jason coming at you,
yeah. It was
which
it
I
was
thought was
ping
really good.
ponging, kind
It
of.
was really good in how it kind of feels like a Jason movie in that way,
Yeah,
where you start running out of room to go. You start seeing him more and more and more
yeah.
and more kill people. So, and I also appreciated that they had projections of the teens going off to the bedroom and then getting hacked off.
Yes, I thought that was
Not
great.
jacked off, hacked off.
Yes, this was. I think this was the first one that I noticed the screens. I think
Mm,
because this
I
was
think,
what
yeah,
the
maybe.
third. I
This
think
was
this
our
was the third
third
house
house. Yeah.
because we started with Five Nights. What was our second one? It was Five Nights, and then
It might have been Jason. Did we go right to Jason?
maybe we did go straight to
Because I
Jason.
don't think we did Wyatt or
Yeah, I
Terrifier, which
think
would have
we
been around.
actually did go straight to
So this
Jason.
might
So
have been
we
the
did
second one.
yeah, Five Nights and then Jason.
Yeah.
So this was been the first one we really would have seen the screens. It was really cool. Your number four was Jason Universe originally.
So I got it.
My number four is El Artista, a Spanish haunting. And it was really cool. You walk into that room and you go or walk through that door into the hangar, the warehouse thing that was in the soundstage, and there's this massive house in front of you. I mean, you're
It's
looking up and it's
so gorgeous.
almost looks full scale.
So
And
cool.
then you go into the house and it's it's this is one of the few that I feel actually had a story that you could kind of follow because there he was painting at the very beginning and he's going mad
Yeah.
and then you start to go through and each room progressively got more chaotic and more haunted in a way. And then they had the flying gargoyle that would
That
go
was
from
pretty.
side to side.
That was probably the biggest of the tricks, if you will, of any of
Yeah,
the houses. Was the suspended
yeah.
character or
and it
scare
was
actor.
and it was such realized set. Like no matter where you looked, there the details were there. If you looked up, there's like a chandelier, or you might see something
Hmm.
else. It was all there, and it was just beautiful, and it was great. The scares weren't as intense. I thought, and as much as I like the house, I feel that there are some better houses that come up design wise. But man, was this really cool. I would
I
have
know
loved to have
this.
done this one a second time. Um, but I thought this was really cool.
Yeah,
It
this
was
one
really
had to
cool.
be waited till the second night because we just ran out of time.
Yeah,
Um, but no, I agree. Yeah, it was
yeah.
good.
This was my original number four on anticipation, so it
Oh,
actually stayed. So I'm actually shocked by this is the first time I'm comparing my two lists, so I'm kind of shocked that it actually stayed. All right, Eric, what is your number three?
my number three is El Artista, Spanish
Oh,
Haunting. Back to the following you thing. Um, Yeah, no, to me, I thought this was a beautiful house. This was literally, it was a house in a
in a
soundstage.
soundstage, yeah,
But then it was also a beautiful house in terms of the design that they did for you to walk through. Um, I thought it was also really cool and creepy and like
yeah,
paintings looking at you and things like that. Like they just did a really good job of making this feel important. I don't know
yeah.
how else to put it. I never caught on to the stuff of like them paying homage to the other nine houses
Yeah, I
somehow.
didn't catch
I
that
couldn't
either.
catch that.
I was
Um,
looking and I didn't find anything.
but it was to me the coolest of some of the theming and how well they executed on the theming.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I really liked seeing the painter at the beginning going, kind of going mad in his own way. Um, yeah, no, I just thought it was a great house, a
yeah.
beautiful house. I definitely think it should be on your list if you're still going.
I wish we could have done it a second time, quite
Yeah,
honestly. I
I would
wish we
agree.
would have made it the first day and could have gone the second day. But it's just timing and the crowds on that Saturday were intense. Your original number three was Fallout. Wow, have the mighty fallen. Wow, have the mighty fallen. My number three was Terrifier. This was one I don't know if I was expecting it to be what it was. Especially after watching those movies. I was very scared of what we heard about the smells, which they clearly toned down for whatever reason on the night we were there. I thought the set was beautiful for this one. I actually like it more than El Artista because there was so many little things and there were Easter eggs all over that I could actually spot and like the
Yeah,
attention to detail they did for the movie was great in there. Um, and the little things that I wanted. Like I didn't have as much I want this in El Artista, but when we were doing our predictions of the houses, almost everything we predicted for this one ended up being there. We got the
yeah.
Clown Cafe booth there, like the little car, and he pops up and does the wave of the hand, which made me so excited. You got to see Art there with the glasses. Like it was very fun and playful while also being very sick and twisted and demented. Got to see Pale Face Girl, which made me so our little pale girl, which made me
Hmm.
so excited.
They had the bathtub lady in the bathtub,
Yeah, like everything
and
was
apparently the
there.
head moved. I didn't see the head move, but
Yeah, I saw the head
some,
move,
yeah.
and it was a gross house for sure. It was by far their grossest house,
The grossest, bloodiest, goriest house for
but
sure.
there was just something cool about it. I
There
really
was.
liked it, and I'm not like I would not say I'm a Terrifier fan. We watched the movies, so we would understand. Will I go back and rewatch them? I don't know, but there's just something about this house that really worked. Art himself works as a concept. Art is really cool, especially he's black and white in this very vibrant red house, and he just pops out and stands out so much.
Yeah.
And it
The fact
just
that he's black and white, I think, really helps to contrast him against
yeah,
everything else in
and
general.
it worked so well for me. My number three on anticipation is surprise, surprise, it happened again, Terrifier,
Hmm.
which I just realized. I was like, oh, I didn't know that was going to be the case. Um, I thought I would maybe have put it at two, but yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. Eric, what's your number two?
Terrifier,
Uh,
which climbed a lot for me because I originally predicted it at 8. So this
yeah,
climbed a lot, surprisingly. And even after the movies, I still expected it to be 8 because of
yeah.
how gross and disgusting movies felt. But this one, to your point, was spot on with its theme, was spot on with its gore level. The wet path
Oh
was
yeah, we
not
didn't talk
as
about the wet path. Yeah.
the wet path was fine. It wasn't as wet as you expected, but that's okay. I don't think anyone was
Well,
complaining about it.
so when we went into it, I could see because I'm tall, I could see where the water's falling, and I saw if we stay in the exact center,
Yeah.
we'll be dry. And of course, we come out and it's raining,
Yeah.
which made me
Which,
laugh.
maybe you need the wet path, but no, I thought it was great. I thought the Easter eggs were spot on. I thought um the look of they did a great job with art and makeup. They did a great job with the pale little girl
Yeah,
and her look. They did a great job of recapturing the scenes. I did
yeah,
like the fact that there were a couple times where Art was just standing over his work, like, yeah, what do you think?
yeah.
Sort
He's
of thing.
like, look.
And so yeah, I think that this was always very crowded, so it
Yeah.
would have been hard to do a second time, with the limited time that we had. But I gladly probably would have gone through this again.
Oh, I would have
And this was
too.
actually one of the scarier ones. This did a really good job, even though it wasn't super jumpy,
Yeah,
which, surprising. It was terrifying because of how bloody and real some of the stuff
yeah,
seemed still. So great
yeah.
job. I thought they nailed it.
Agreed, agreed. And your number two originally was Gulkin,
Hmm.
Monsters of the North.
And had they had the snow, who knows where they would have been.
I know. My number two, this one surprises me. And I went back and forth thinking about this for a long time on this. But my number two is Wyatt Sick,
Mm.
the WWE one. I
Trying to
really
think
liked
what
it.
that leaves for you then. Yeah.
I really, really, really liked the Wyatt Sick House a lot. We did it twice. I would have done it a third time gladly.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed it. I love the opening. You walk into the fireflies, you see the costumes there, and one of them is alive. I love going through gorilla position, and this had the best use of music because as you're going through gorilla position and you're turning that corner, because it was like you would take a right and then a left to go into the next room. As you were doing that little section, they were playing the music, the Wyatt music, as it's amping up, and it really brought that tension out
Hmm.
in a very creative way. And then you had the characters just hitting you. And even though it's kind of disjointed because every room is based off of one of the different characters, it somehow worked. Particularly when you go through the first room and it's after the gorilla position, you go into the Firefly Funhouse and
So
there's
cool.
Lily and seeing the Lily doll, and you're like, oh my God, it's Lily. And then Alexa Bliss pops out from behind that door and it's so cool and there's so much to see. There's like the fiend mask hidden everywhere and then you go through the different sections and it worked so well for me. I loved this house a lot. I really did. It was a lot of fun. This is one that I think you could do even if you aren't a wrestling fan. And as cool as it is, I wouldn't say it's the scariest house.
No.
I think it's like a mid level on the scares, but everything else around it just makes it so wonderful and so magical. Plus the queue, getting this, they filmed because WWE, they filmed that whole promo thing at the beginning, so it helped with that queue. You had stuff to
Yeah,
watch to
it
help
was
build
nice.
up the characters. I really loved this house a lot.
Yeah.
My number two anticipation was Five Nights at Freddy's. And I
Agreed.
think I said originally when I did that I was scared that it was going to fall flat. I think I had mentioned that in our original video.
I'm
Um,
struggling to remember which one would be I'm trying to think of your
you're going
list
to
now.
find out in a minute. Eric, what's
I
your
know.
number one?
My number one is the Wyatt Six, the horrors of the Wyatt Six. I thought that maybe it's because I become a wrestling fan this year, and so this one felt the most connected to me,
Uh,
versus like horror movies. Um, this one I thought nailed its theming. I thought it had a lot of the Easter eggs. Jey Uso was there. I won't
mhm.
tell you where if you haven't been. I
The
loved walking
Miz.
through. The Miz was there. I loved
Yeah.
walking through the gorilla position. I loved walking through Funhouse. Whoever was playing Alexis, the day we did it twice,
Yeah.
she was awesome.
Yeah.
She looked very much like her. It wasn't her. I did go back and see when she was there.
Yeah.
Should not have lined up, and she didn't look exactly like her. I've seen some of the videos
Yeah,
of
there
when
was
she was
just
in there,
enough off.
so
Yeah.
but she looked really great. Everyone really did a good job of looking. All all of the other members of the six were really well replicated.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was just to me this one. I think because I wanted it to be the best, maybe it skewed it. But I
yeah,
loved walking essentially up the ramp and into backstage, and kind of having that aspect of it. And yeah, I would agree with you that this was not the scariest one, but as a wrestling fan now, this
yeah.
one was probably my favorite for sure.
Yeah, best in show, easy. Like it should get a best in show award. Like it,
Yeah,
presentation wise was phenomenal.
yeah.
The attention to detail, it's so much fun. Really enjoyed it.
It was
Um,
up and down in terms of popularity, it seemed like, based on
yeah,
line times. So I'd be curious to know how it ultimately did and what future partnerships may or may not exist because of it.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was really good. I think a lot of people seem to enjoy it after,
From
gauging by the people walking out and
and
stuff.
watching a lot of videos on it, a lot of people say this was their surprise hit that they weren't expecting it,
Yeah.
and it's good.
This
My
feels very niche. If you're not
yeah,
if you're not a wrestling person, this feels like off for you, but it
yeah.
is really good.
I my criticism is merch. They didn't have enough Wyatt or just WWE merch. This should have
Absolutely.
been
Yeah.
more. This would have been the place to sell the Lily doll. They
Yeah.
should have put so many Lily
Yeah.
dolls out there and pumped them out. And I think they could have sold
I would
like
have bought one.
hotcakes. Yeah,
I would have
I'd have
bought one.
bought two. I would have bought one for me and one for my niece.
There you
Okay, I
go.
would have bought three. I would have bought one for me, one for my niece, and one for my son. Everyone would have a Lily
All
doll.
right, I would have bought four. One for my niece, one for my two sons, and one for me.
That's
All
right.
right, I would have
About
bought
five.
five.
My wife needs one as well. She's not a wrestling fan. Anyway, yes, I really appreciate this. This was your number one
It was.
going
It
in.
stuck
So
to it. I was glad it lived up like I wanted it to.
yeah.
Um, I was a little, the first time we did it, I was like, okay, it was fine. Doing it the second time,
Oh,
really, I
second
think
time
helped.
solidified it. Yeah.
Definitely, it made me realize how good it had they did. Like, because yeah, the first time you're like, this is just a haunted house in a sort of weird, setting, and then you're like,
Yeah.
oh, and then now that I was able to like this thing, and oh, there's Uso, and he's eating,
Yeah.
and there, little things like that. Like it was
Yeah.
really neat to catch all those little things. So
Yeah. All right.
I think it's a worthwhile trip for anyone, but if you're a wrestling fan and you're going, you definitely need to do it,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right,
even if you're
Eric,
not a sick fan.
do
Yeah.
you want
All
to
right.
guess what my number one is?
I can't.
All
We've
right.
already done Jason.
All right. Here we go. You ready for my
Yeah.
number one? My number one is Jason Universe. I
That's
haven't
what I'm.
actually done. You did Jason.
I did Jason. I thought you did
And
Jason.
nope, I did not do Jason. This one surprised me because I am not a Friday the 13th like massive
Stan. Yeah.
lover. You've seen my movie rankings where I rank it as a franchise. We have openly talked about how bad those movies are. Um,
We
it is
watched almost all of them just to get ready for
we've
this,
got
which
one
was
left
worth it.
to we got one left to watch that we will be watching on Wrestling with the Horror of It All.
Yeah.
But
This month too, right? I think it falls in this month.
no, I think it's next month
Okay.
because because yeah, it has to be it has to be
It wasn't in
November.
the 90s, it was in the 2000s.
It's got to be November
Okay.
because I know what the last two are for this month. Anyway,
Mm.
I'm surprised that I liked it as much as I did. And I think going in it the second time, because I did a second time, although that line the second time wasn't worth it. But I think doing the second time helped solidify that I liked it the most. If I hadn't done the second time, probably WWE would have inched up and taken the victory.
Yeah.
But there's something cool about the way you do the house, and as you're doing that corridor, that hallway, right before you even go into the house, they start playing the
Yeah,
they
it
start
was
playing that
so
in
good.
advance, and then you get in and you do this house, and it's the story, it's the movie that you're playing through and you're going through, and there's the counselors, and we had so much fun doing the predictions, and we were right on so many
We got a
predictions
lot of
of
the Easter eggs.
and you get all those little bits, and there's Mrs. Voorhees, and there's the guy pinned to the wall, and there's the videos of the couples about to go and have sex, and then they're going to get hacked up. All those little
I was so
bits.
proud of myself for calling the pitchfork.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that I did get that because that felt, having watched all the movies, that felt like a side note at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then the actors coming out, help me, ah. And the way they did some of the kills, where it's like Jason's got the crossbow, and then your eye catches an actor popping out, and he's got the bolt in his head, and it's the way they do it, it's like he actually fired. It's really creative. It was really cool. And that's just the first half of the house. Then you go outside because you're going into another building and you're like, how big is this thing? And then you get it's a small little scene with Mrs. Voorhees out there talking about her son. Oh, they let my son drown. Although the second time we did it, she wasn't out there, which was
Interesting.
very weird. You go into the second one and you walk through Jason's mask, and as Eric said before, it starts to
That was really
constrict
cool.
and get tighter and tighter and tighter. And so there's always three Jasons in a hallway. So you're going through as it's getting tighter and it's getting darker, and Jason 1 pops out and pushes you over to the right, and then Jason 2 pops out and pushes you over to the left, and you're turning to be like, oh my God, what happened? And then Jason 3's coming out. And then you're going through the doorway and you're like, oh, I'm safe. And then it happens again, and it happens again. And I think it's like 4 times that they do it, 4 rounds, and it's different Jasons each time. So you might get Bag Jason, and then you might get Jason from 7, and then Jason from 3, and then Jason from 8. Like it bounces around. It was very cool. This was one of the few times an actor touched me. One of the Jasons on my second time, he popped out on the left and it pushed me to the right as the other Jason was coming out, and he poked me with his fake knife in the shoulder. And I was like, I got stabbed by Jason. And then I'm
Mm.
turning and got another Jason right behind me. So it worked really well. I'm not
This was
mad
the
that he bumped into me at all. I don't want to sound like I'm mad, but it was
this was the
really
best
creative.
scare. This was the best
Yeah.
scare house for sure. This was the one that like I walked out going, I don't know if I could do that again. That was terrifying.
Yes,
Like
it
it
legitimate.
was a lot of jump scares, Jason. Right?
Yeah.
It makes sense.
This is the one where I was like, was there some that actually got me? Yes, this one actually got me, particularly in
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
last
Several
bombardment
times.
room. And
But
this
walking through the
one,
Jason mask was so cool. That was a
yeah.
neat moment. Like
It-
same with we walked through we didn't mention with Terrifier. We walked through the Terrifier clown
oh yeah.
intro, which was really good too. There
Oh,
were
that
some
was
really good
so
intros for
beautiful.
sure. Definitely some good
But
intros.
yeah, it was just a fun house, and I'm surprised I liked this one as much as I did because I originally ranked it number 6 on anticipation. Not a huge fan of the IP. Man, was this a fun house.
Yeah.
It was so great. Excuse me, the sets were amazing, the costumes, everything was great. My original number 1, if you haven't figured it out, was Horrors of the White Sick. I thought it was going to be great, and it is great. I do not want you to think that I don't like this house. It is great. They could almost be tied. Like it is such a fine
For different
line.
reasons though, right?
Yeah, for different reasons. They're so cool, both of
Mhm.
them. You can't go wrong at Horror Nights this year.
All right. I like
All
it.
right. All right. Well, thank you, Eric, for going through this. Everyone, you can find us over on our podcast on Wrestling with the Horror of It All. You can also find us on Off the Reels, where we do different movies. And we are currently going through the Star Wars movies. And soon we will be going through another franchise that Eric is hopefully going to tell us about today. And we'll find out. You can write us at notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. That's notfunnyguys.offthereels@gmail.com. Find us over on the Insta at not_funny_guys_presents, on Twitter as notfunnyguyspod, on Blusky as the Not Funny Guys, on YouTube where you're watching this now, the Not Funny Guys. Find me on Twitter as Vash_Maxwell. Find me on Letterboxd as VashMaxwell. And Eric can be found over on Letterboxd as Ekly, Ekly. Check out his ever-growing movie list. You will not be disappointed, I promise you, particularly this month as he is watching 31 horror movies. Maybe we'll do a video on that at the very end. We'll see. Maybe we'll pick out our top 10 of those and do a quick little video.
We'll
All
find
right.
out, folks.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. And remember to keep it not funny.